Hey everybody, today we have a disassembly and maintenance of this little guy. This is the Massdrop Ferrum Forge Falcon, and it needs some love. It is dirty, it's been used for quite some time, and I'll show you how to disassemble it. Okay, so the pivot is a Torx T8. And it is a free spinning pivot. I initially had to use two tools, one on each side, to be able to disassemble it, and the thread locker that was on it was a bit of a problem, but it didn't require too much force to take off. So it should be enough just to take out this one screw on this side. So we'd be left with the pivot screw and the screw for the side. And if the tolerances are good, there we go. Alright, so it is a bit snappy, a bit tight fit. You'll notice as I pull this out and set the blade down gently that this pin right there, if it'll focus, yeah, and this hide inside this scale. So, but that's the back spacer, and you'll notice from the other side the clip has two screws. One of them screws straight into the titanium right here, and one of them screws into this drop the bearing into this spacer here. So it screws in from both sides. That's where this screw came from. Alright. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's the pivot. That's the back spacer. I'm going to make sure that we have everything here. And the blade. And we'll get started on cleaning. I'm just using a rag that doesn't leave lint and some isopropyl alcohol. Make sure the blade is clean. I'm going to use a Q-tip, this to get inside the hole where the pivot is usually there. And inside the stop pin track. So not very dirty, but there's definitely some gunk. Yeah. Okay, set the blade aside for now. You notice inside the titanium scale, there is the stop pin, which is removable, and the bearing track, that's steel, so it's not ceramic bearings against titanium. So I will just use the driver that I dropped to just gently pull out. Okay, there you go. That's the track. That's one. That's the other. All right. As far as these guys go, you notice they're just very typical ceramic bearings. Nice, clean, well done. Just spinning them around a little bit. You can't see that. There you go. And I do apologize, this is the first video I've made of this type. So if I'm incoherent, or I forget to look at the camera to see the angle that we're using, or I'm slow. You're gonna have to live with it until I improve if I ever do this again. So I'm trying to make sure I clean the detent, which is also ceramic. Nope. Right there. Yeah. It's actually quite a nice scale. It's well machined. I will do a review of this knife in the style of Nick Shabazz. But you'll notice as I bring this in, struggling there a little bit. Okay, still not. There we go. You'll notice that the inside of the scale is chamfered very nicely all the way around. So there's no sharp edge anywhere to be found here. Even the inside of the lock bar is machined to be chamfered. See? There we go. All right. And lastly, I am going to use that Q-tip to get inside the hole of the scales. Right there. And through. And these are not the best Q-tips to use for something like this. If you head to your local tool shop, Home Depot, whatever, you can find some better Q-tips that don't disintegrate like this. This is just a standard. That's all I have right now. So, okay, gonna clean the track quickly. And if you do, I need to tighten these screws. I will take this off the clip once we are done with the reassembly. These two screws are different lengths, so you got to make sure that if you take it off the clip, which you probably will have to at some point, you put the corresponding lengths back in. All right, so last thing to clean is the pivot itself. And the stop pin. Alright, so we'll start with the back side. When I got this, the pivot side, there we go. So this portion of the pivot was on the show side and the screw was from the lock side. But as far as I can tell, it's fully reversible. So I just turn it around so that I have an easier time disassembling it. So we'll put the pivot in. And the track. And the track seems to have this groove from the factory. So there shouldn't be any problem putting it in the right way. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but there you go. And my apology, I don't have these nice applicators for lubricant. I just use Triflow. And this does mean that I will over lubricate. And I don't have a way to prevent it really. So that is way more than I even expected. So this lets me stretch it, or I guess spread it around the pivot as well. So I'm going to put the bearing with the cage side facing the blade. I will put a little bit of lubricant on the detent ball. And a little bit of lubricant on the track. So as you can see, again, way too much. So I'm just going to use the driver to spread it on the track. And actually I could probably put some inside here as well. Alright, so I will seat the blade. Okay, and insert the stopping. Might be easier if you put in the stopping first before the blade. But now the blade is comfortably sitting there. And I will add a little bit more lubricant for the bearing on this side. Spin it around. And finally, sorry, I've been out of focus. There we go. And finally add the track. Oops. Right there. And now we just seat the other backspacer. Don't forget that. So this pin doesn't appear to move. Actually, as I push it, it takes some force, but just sits there. And we put this side back on. All right. And I am using a little bit of luck. The blue stuff. That's way too much. Okay. Okay. Especially on the pivot, this is very useful. Okay. Okay. So I'm not going full tightness yet. That is not even close. All right. As I turn, you see the blade coming to center, which is good. So I'm going to fully tighten. Screws on this side, and likewise here. Actually, let's wait a little bit. Okay. Absolutely no blade play, so I think I can back off quite a bit. Let's see. Blade is centered. No blade play. Nope. It does feel a bit strange. I wonder if the excessive amount of Loctite leaked out. It is not quite centered. Okay. Still a bit of blade play. We've successfully eliminated all blade play. Blade is fully centered. Dead on, perfect. Action feels decent. It's not fall shutting. You have to nudge it pretty severely, but it is very smooth. Especially on the opening side, it's very satisfying. So let me show you how to take the clip off. Unfortunately, there's already a reputation of a bendy clip. So as I undo these screws, you'll notice there's a longer one than on the other side. And one longer still. So that's the clip. I will use a little bit of Loctite. Overdone it again. So the longest screw is at the back. And the other screw is to the other side. Again, a bit of Loctite. So as I tighten this, basically full tightness, wrist tight. Not enough to strip the screws or anything like that, but enough to where there's no movement in the clip. All right, we're done. Well, actually, this is already starting to smooth out very nicely. All right, a little greasy, but sorry, what can you expect to do with this? Still works great. All right, see you guys later.